welcome to the Bethany Hill Place Spring Gala. It is so nice to be live
from the program room.
This is exciting. We're here in Framingham, and we're so happy that you're here joining us tonight. We have a great program for you. We're going to honor the strength of the Bethany Hill Place residents, the vision of our founders, the Sisters of St. Joseph of Boston, and this great community that you are all a part of. We couldn't do it without you. So thanks for being with us during this unusual time. We hope you are all safe and healthy. We're keeping our distance 6 feet apart. We are both vaccinated at this point. Thank you, science, for giving us a vaccine, allowing us to be together again. We've missed seeing each other.
Yes.
We haven't seen each other probably at least for 2 years
now,
right?
2 years,
because we missed last year. So
the big 25th anniversary gala. That was great. That was great.
Thank goodness for the memories.
It's nice to have you back in the program room. It's been a long time.
It's been very nice to be here again over the years and back again. Tonight we have the Legacy of Justice Award, the keynote CEO of Boston Healthcare for the Homeless, Dr. Jim O'Connell, and you'll hear directly from some of Bethany Hill Place's residents. We have a fantastic program for you, made possible through the generosity of our corporate sponsors. They include the TJX Companies and Synchrony Bank, Pilot Holding Consultants, TD Bank, Middlesex Savings Bank, Needham Bank, and Phil Ottaviani Realty Executives Boston West. We couldn't do it without these generous sponsors.
Amazing, amazing.
Toward the end of the program, the part you've been waiting for, how you can help. Maybe you didn't get a sponsorship in, but we can make sure that you too can support this amazing place. We're going to let you know some of the costs, the programs. They are expensive. It costs a lot to do the kind of quality support for families that we offer here. So we invite you to support us as we support them. You'll have an opportunity to give at any level that is most comfortable for you. We know it has been a hard year for everyone. So please know how much we appreciate your support. We'll be using the Give Butter platform. If you're watching on our Give Butter page, all you need to do is click the yellow button on the right corner of your screen. If you're watching through YouTube, you can visit givebutter.com/Bethany Hill Place, and you can find that page quite easily. If you prefer human contact, and who doesn't after this year of isolation, pick up the phone, give us a call. The number's at the bottom of your screen. You can see it, 508-270-8002. Operators are standing by. All right, with me tonight is Trish Appert, Executive Director of Bethany Hill Place. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's great to be almost really close to you. Yes.
Just a little apart, but
Just
together.
A little apart. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. For those of you who are just kind of learning about Bethany Hill Place, I wanted to let you know that since 1991, Bethany Hill Place has been providing safe, affordable, independent housing with real opportunities for learning and achievement and personal growth. And we are located, as Kelly was talking about, we're located in South Framingham, so we're not too far away from you. We're on a beautiful campus that is owned by our founders, the Sisters of St. Joseph of Boston. And we are much more than just housing. Bethany Hill Place is really a community where people can decide what a better future looks like, and we help them kind of realize that dream. We have a very small staff, as you know, but we have a large number of volunteers, just incredible people who help us. And with that, we are able to provide the resources, the support, and most importantly, the opportunities for people to engage in and really transform their lives. So welcome to you. And now I'm really honored. I get to introduce the Legacy of Justice awardee, introduce Sister Marie-Therese Martin. Sister Marie-Therese, like many of the Sisters of St. Joseph that I know, has not had just one career, but many, many, many careers. So, and she's started as a chemistry teacher, and now she's working in pastoral ministry. But I will not go through all of the many roads that she took getting there. But needless to say, she's had so many different experiences, and they have all had a theme, a strand of anti-poverty work and social justice. And that is, you know, that's no surprise. That is what a CSJ is and does. And I think whether it was hunger and food insecurity or family poverty or her great love for affordable housing, child care, mental health, access to mental health, all of those all of those issues have been things that she has worked on either through kind of jobs or on boards as a volunteer, and have really kind of made for very rich experiences. When I think about her, I think of her as someone who is really alive to opportunity. And I think of 2 years ago when she still is on the board of the Webster Square Daycare in Worcester. After 30 years, they lost their lease and they had to find a new place to live, new place to serve all those families. At the time, Sister Marie was also on the St. Mary's Healthcare Center board, which is a skilled nursing facility, and they were looking for people to lease space. And so it was Sister Marie Trez's idea to bring those two worlds together, and she solved not just two problems, but kind of created new possibilities for intergenerational programming, which have just been so wonderful for both of those organizations. So Sister Marie Trez confronts conflict and kind of sees those, she's open to those opportunities. That's what I really think about with Sister Marie Trez. So we are profoundly grateful for your lifetime of work and service and anti-poverty and social justice, and we congratulate you on this very well-deserved Legacy of Justice Award. Sister Marie Trez.
Thanks so much, Trish. This really means a lot to me. I do believe in what you're doing here. I am still happy to be on the board, and may we continue to be able to provide what we are able to provide. Thank you so much. What home means to me is basically a place where I can definitely be myself, and that I can be able to say how happy I am. And I think that's about what happens at Bethany Hill Place. I'm sure the folks who are here have discovered that they were in situations that for most of them were not their control, but that from once they got here, they discovered that they were valued and that there were always possibilities. It's really about helping people to really believe in themselves, and then when they're ready, to move on. As a Sister of St. Joseph, I was thrilled when we decided to develop this as housing. I, at that time, had been working on housing in Worcester for almost 10 years. First connected with an emergency shelter for women, and then working with an organization that rehabbed and developed 3-deckers for previously homeless families that were trying to create a cooperative, and so also had possibilities. And when I heard that this is what we were going to do here, obviously, I was thrilled. Well, I think strengthening families goes back to my own reality of coming from a family that didn't have it easy. Both my mother and my father lost their dads when they were teenagers. My dad had to leave high school and work in the button and leather factory to support his mother and 2 sisters. There were no benefits in those days. And my mother's family, again, she was in the middle of the 7 girls and basically had just finished high school and had just started to work, but there were still 3 younger than she was when my grandfather died. So basically, we were a threesome. I know the importance of not just finding a house to live in, and the importance of understanding what my neighborhood is about, who my friends are, and possibilities that sometimes might be beyond my reach, that I never dreamed that I'd be involved in, but knowing how to approach those possibilities. And that's where I see Bethany Hill's programs providing that for families. Because as a member of the congregation, our piece is always caring about the dear neighbor. I think of what we're trying to do here, of helping people to realize the gifts they really have, but they might never have known if they did not have the nurturing that comes with just finding housing. All of which goes to what are the possibilities. It has been a journey of love and care. It has given me the opportunity to still really be involved in providing safe housing for folks. It's a place where people discover what it really means to be able to be at home.
Didn't you love those photographs?
Yes, amazing.
Those were amazing. Thank you so much, Sister Marie-Therese. And I just, what she said about home, I don't think she used the word belonging, but I think that was when you're talking about your neighborhood, who your neighbors are, and whether you belong there. Just really, I think, resonates, and I think it's what we're trying to create here. I know that a lot of Sister Marie-Therese's relatives and friends and former students are on the call tonight watching. We're so happy that you're here. And I want to send special thanks out to Mimi, Peter, Paul, Chichi, Maureen, Father Mark, and Christina for your generosity this evening. Thank you so much.
That sounds nice.
She's
She's got her fan club and we're members of it too. It's now my pleasure to introduce another person who has a huge fan club, our keynote speaker, Dr. Jim O'Connell. Dr. O'Connell is the president of Boston Healthcare for the Homeless and an assistant professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. In 1985, he began full-time clinical work with homeless individuals as the founding physician of the program. He established the nation's first medical respite program in 1995 and the nation's first computerized medical record for the homeless. Dr. O'Connell's first book, Stories from the Shadows, Reflections from a Street Doctor, was published in 2015 and featured on NPR's Fresh Air with Terry Gross. Please, everybody, a warm welcome for Dr. Jim O'Connell.
Good evening, everyone, and I am so honored to be here at the Bethany Hill Place Gala. And I have long admired the work that you have been doing, going back to the days of the AIDS epidemic. And I wanted to also say a very special thanks to Trish Appert for inviting me and for being our leader. And another hello and thank you to Kelly Tuthill, who has been a hero of mine for many, many years and a graduate of my college. And a very special thanks this evening and a congratulations this evening to Sister Marie-Therese Martin for all that you have been doing in Worcester for so many families and so many children all these years, giving them education and housing and support and a lot of hope and love. I am so deeply admiring of all that you have done. Just love to share with you, if I may, some of my own nervousness when I get before the Sisters of St. Joseph is that I had 8 years of grammar school in Newport, Rhode Island with the Sisters of St. Joseph. And I guess I've had to come to grips with the fact that they pretty much shaped and formed my whole world. And I am entirely grateful to them. I had Christian brothers in high school and then Holy Cross fathers in college, but I have to admit it was the nuns who really dug in. So a deep thanks to, I know, to the nuns who founded Bethany Hills several years ago during the AIDS epidemic. And I have long been an admirer of everything you do. But my story is, it goes back to the mid 80s during the AIDS epidemic as well. I was finishing my residency at Mass General Hospital. I was what my mother always called a delayed vocation because I didn't get to medical school till I was 30. And until she died, she would not let me talk about that decade between college and medical school, which were actually probably the best years of my life, but lost in space at this point. But when I finally got to medical school and started to realize what I really wanted to do, I was intrigued by the care of the dying, doing oncology, and I was going to do a fellowship. And as life has it, in these right turns that you don't expect, a wonderful doctor named John Potts, who was my chief of medicine, and Tom Durant, who was one of the real wonderful doctors at Mass General Hospital, who was very involved in third world care. He set up Thai refugee camps. But they had been involved in getting a grant from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation for the city of Boston to take care of homeless people. And the homeless people themselves were naturally chary of doctors like me and of hospitals. And so they made demands of the mayor, one of which was that they wanted to have this program be one of social justice. Believe it or not, this is 1984, and not of charity. So they demanded a full-time doctor, which of course they couldn't find. And then I was conscripted. I got called into my chief's office in March of my last year and told that they had a great opportunity for me. And as all of you who know, when you get called into the principal's office, like that, those questions are largely rhetorical, and you say yes if you value your career. So I said yes, thinking I would do 1 year of giving back, of Urban Peace Corps, maybe solving my late 60s social conscience. And I left Mass General's ICU. That was my last job in June of 1985. I was a senior resident running the ICU, and I went 6 blocks down the street to Pine Street Inn and started to work in the clinic. And the story I wanted to share with you was the beginning of walking into the clinic, thinking that they were going to be thrilled to have a doctor. This is my first job. I'm 37 years old. I couldn't wait to be finally working. And I walked in, and there were these stern nurses sitting around the clinic, kind of eyeing me. And I have an older sister who's a nurse, so I know very well the stern look of nurses. But anyway, they pointed out to me very, very, very convincingly how much doctors had neglected the care of the poor and the vulnerable, like the homeless people, and that hospitals had not been very much involved in what they were doing. And they had been running this clinic for about 15 years without the help of any of us. And they said, if you sit down and watch us, we'll teach you what to do. And I remember Barbara McGinnis, who is the nurse after whom we have named our program. And I hope there are some nurses out here, because really everything that I know and do, I was taught by the nurses. But Barbara said that I had to go slowly if I really wanted to get anything done, and that the way we had been trained in the hospitals to go fast, to get chief complaints, to make diagnoses, write scripts, and move on to the next person does not work if you're trying to care for someone who's been bruised and battered and scarred by all the vicissitudes of living in poverty and racism and all the things that sort of cause homelessness eventually. So I was asked to soak feet, believe it or not. The nurses did this fabulous thing where they invited homeless people into the clinic, and this was the men's side, all homeless men. They invite them into the clinic, and they ask them if they'd like to sit and have their feet soaked. And you would walk in, and the perimeter of the clinic waiting room was full of men, mostly crusty, tough men, soaking their feet, and you could hear a pin drop. They were all just grateful. And the nurses would soak feet, never ask them, are you hearing voices or anything like that? Just say, what else can we do for you? It was all about service, something that I had learned back in grammar school. So anyway, my job for 2 months was to soak feet. And I'll never forget realizing that the difference between the intensive care unit, where we were invaded, everybody with every orifice had a line in it, everything was going on. Here I was now soaking feet. And as Barbara McGinnis and the other nurses taught me, it was well, first of all, they invited people in by calling them by their name. They would say, please come in, Mr. Jones, can we soak your feet? And I had to come to realize that people living on the streets and in the shelters often have not heard anyone say their name with kindness or dignity for months, if not years. So just that alone broke a huge barrier, which I was actually very surprised about. The second thing that I realized quickly is that when we're examining people, we're using the length of a stethoscope away from the very private space, your chest, looking in ears, looking in mouths. So we really invade private space in our profession. But the nurses quickly flipped that around, and they said, stay at the feet of the people you're caring for. Give them plenty of space and flip that power structure. And it was remarkable what I learned. One is that I had to restrain myself from asking all the questions I wanted to ask and wait for people to feel comfortable enough to ask me questions. And that story I have told many, many times, to the people that come and work with us now as kind of symbolic of what we really do as a program, and something which I learned from places like what you do at Bethany Hills, where it is serving people, and in serving them, you are really offering a leadership and a sense of hope. So I am really grateful for that. And when I look around and I see the kindness and the care that you give to not only people with AIDS, but homeless families, the education you're doing for the kids, the housing with supportive services that you're doing, it's really quite extraordinary. And so I think I'm here to please, one, let you know what amazing work you have been doing and continue to do, to let you know also how many of us out here, even as far away as Boston, admire and cherish what you do and hope to learn more and more from you. And I think my role tonight is to just spread the joy and the kindness that we have all learned from the nuns. I would also probably figure out, as I had to reflect on my career now that I'm on this end of it, which is horrifying to me, but it happens. I don't know how the time goes by so fast. But when I think of my career being shaped in this world, it's really by some extraordinary women. So Barbara McGinnis, first of all, was a nurse who knew how to care for people, never accepted a title, never wanted to supervise anybody, just wanted to serve. And she knew every homeless person in town. On our board of directors was Kip Tiernan, who was this fiercely independent and advocate for homeless women. She started Rosie's Place, which was the first women's shelter in the country. And then Sister Margaret Leonard had founded Project Hope. Sister Margaret had worked in Harlem and then started what I considered in Boston the best and most amazing family shelter. And we had Barbara Blakeney, who was a nurse running the nursing clinics in Boston's shelter, which was out on Long Island. Barbara went on to become the president of the American Nurses Association. But I am the beneficiary of having worked under the tutelage of all four of those women. So my other last thing tonight to say is a salute to the strong and wonderful women who have taught us how to love and be kind. At the same time, we can be really excellent in what we do. So let me stop there and just say thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. And it's been just a real honor and a privilege to be here and share all this with you. So thanks very much.
Congratulations, Jim. All of us in the Notre Dame family, all of us in the Bethany Hill Place family are so proud of you, and we are inspired by your compassion. One that is we try to replicate here every day.
Yeah, I think of what he's done, and I think of Bethany Hill Place as kind of almost that residential extension of that that personal connection. I think that he was talking about, and kind of building trust. That's how it happens. That's where the connections make for trust and then meaningful change. I really do.
And you think of a year that we've had and how important community is, and welcomeness and compassion and kindness and the dignity of every human being. And it's been a hard year for all of us, but for some much, much more difficult. And that's why we're here. Yeah. So nobody's alone and feels welcomed.
We're in it together, and we certainly have been with our supporters, and that's been amazing this year. Really
an amazing human being, and we are lucky that we had him share those words tonight.
Thank you.
Well, Bethany Hill Place, as you said, tries to be a residential extension of that incredible work. We know that the folks who come here, who live here, are incredibly resilient. They're determined to set forth on a new future with the support and love that they find here. Now we'll hear from a woman who has done just that. She's done a lot in the short time she's been here at Bethany Hill Place. Please welcome Jennifer.
It's almost an indoctrination of homelessness. It's like you get it in your head that homelessness becomes a survival tool for you. And that was sort of my backup plan. We ask people to get to this point in life, to be successful, you need to do this, and to do this, and you need to get to housing, you need to fill out all these sheets, right? But I feel like there's so many steps in between that, like, you know, if you come from a background where you don't know anything or you haven't had the opportunities, you need to learn those life skills. Like, we need to teach people how to live. I just didn't grow up in a normal family. I didn't have a home that my parents purchased to live at any one given time. I think when you have that, you feel that you're able to accomplish things and you're able to create a home life and have that stability going into any situation in your life. I was in multiple foster homes until the time I was 24. I just bounced around, and that was life for me. That was all that I knew. I would just remember the very first time that I tried to get an apartment by myself, and I ran into an issue where I wasn't able to pay the rent anymore at this apartment, and they had kicked me out for the very first time. I just remember this overwhelming feeling of not having anywhere to go. I felt, how do I do this? I felt like where do I go? How do I begin to even think about finding a place? Where do I go for resources? Where do I go for help? How do I keep myself sheltered for tonight? It was very scary. It was very overwhelming. I remember leaving the house and going for a walk and just crying and feeling like I felt really helpless for myself and really optionless at that time. People don't understand that mentality. They think, oh, why don't you just go apply there, put your thing. It takes so much mental energy to just get through the day, to figure out where you're gonna, what's your meal gonna be at night? Is it gonna be refrigerated? Are you gonna spend money to buy food at a restaurant? Are you have to get to the gym by a certain time? You have to sort of create a plan for your day, right? You can't just like sit around in your car reading a newspaper in the hot sun while you boil in your car. You have to go somewhere. Like, you have to figure out what you're gonna do with your days. So you're going places, you're driving here, spending gas. You know, it's tough. It's a whole mental, it takes everything. It takes everything from you. So I moved in to my church's basement. Believe it or not, they had like some wonderful office space down there. It was great because I didn't, have to get up early. I was there already on Sundays. And then I got a call from Bethany Hill saying that, that they had an apartment available. The timing was like perfect. It took me a while to when I first got here, to settle down. I felt very jittery. I felt very uneasy. I felt like I was going to be asked to leave. I felt like I was not able to put anything on a shelf just yet. I was like, if this doesn't work, I still have my car and I can move back in, right? So I'm okay with that. Right? So I was okay with that. It took me almost a year and a half before I got here to unpack a box. And I think the first thing I did was unpack my spices in the kitchen because I love to cook, and it was so nice to just have an oven, right? I deserve a place to live. I deserve a place to put my head. I deserve sheets on the bed. I deserve a bed. How I thrive is I find a lot of gratitude in the journey. I really come from it, that was my past, right? But I'm not a victim anymore. I get to make better choices. I'm just very motivated. I'm probably more on fire now than I've ever been. I was on fire when I was in the van and living homeless as well, but I felt a little stunted. I was like, I don't know when I'll be able to get to these things. And it was almost like a COVID quarantine in my car, because I was like, I want to do so much, but I just don't have access. Speaking for myself, why I think this place needs to be here is the sense of community. Everyone was so kind to me. They gave me the space I needed to just chill and get acclimated to things and get used to my new apartment. It's nice to be surrounded by nature, just being surrounded by trees and not city walls, or there's a sense of security. I think it's amazing to feel listened to. I noticed what I can only identify as letting people live. I just feel like at Bethany Hill, people meet you where you are. And I just remember this, 6 months in, Lisa said to me, she's like, if it's a difference of you needing to buy groceries and paying rent, we want you to buy groceries. And I just remember how overwhelmed by that kindness that I felt. I felt so like I could just exhale. It opened up opportunity, which I think is the biggest thing.
Oh, I know.
Wow.
Incredible woman.
She was really amazing. I know a little bit of Jennifer's story. She's told me some, but when I listened to her just now, it kind of stops me cold. The way she's able to describe what she's been through, what it feels like. the fact that, you know, you don't really have that kind of security of being home. You don't always feel that. You can't feel that. And that this kind of vigilance that she had about, you know, okay, if, you know, she doesn't want to unpack anything.
If I got to split, I got to split.
If I got to split, I
Right.
still have the car. I can do this.
Right.
I can do this. I can make that work. And just, you know, nothing else is possible if your day has to be consumed with survival.
Right.
You know,
I'm just very touched by clearly what your team here, what this dedicated staff and volunteers did to make her feel safe again and willing to unpack her things and to say, okay, I'm home. I'm home.
just getting to safety, and then all these amazing things that she does can happen. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for that. We're now going to hear from two other residents. They are a couple, our family of 4, and they've been at Bethany Hill for just a little bit longer, and they're at a kind of different point. They are envisioning their next home and what the next possibilities can be. So please welcome Stephen and Monique.
Going back and forth with landlords about different safety things. One of the things that was a big concern for me was when Eden was born, she was like about 5 weeks old, and we lived in a basement apartment, and it was like cold air coming in through cracks in the window, and I was like, yo, we have to fix this window. I was like, you know, this is too many things that need to be fixed, and so it was like, you know what? Let's just agree to disagree. We ended up having a no-fault eviction.
We had 45 days to move, but then
Yeah.
3 days after, you got a pink slip and an acceptance letter to Emerson. So
Right,
it's
right,
like,
right.
we don't have any money, we don't have a job, and you have
Right.
this school.
I applied to Emerson as a way to advance my family, but now I feel like I can't do that.
It made me feel like, how on earth could a human being do this to another human being? I just had a baby, we don't have any money to look for an apartment.
Thinking about my whole family, and for me, like, I know that I have to make this right some kind of way. I'm thinking about my wife, and at the same time, you know, I don't want to be a man who is willing to just let the cold air come into our apartment and say, okay, fine, you know, you guys don't want to fix it, just let things go. I don't want to drop the ball on important issues. It's a shaming and frustrating situation. It made me want to feel like, you know, you want to just yell at somebody, you want to argue, you want to do all these things just to like try to defend for yourself, try to like, you know, to advocate for yourself. But you know that will only make things worse. So you it's a feeling like you feel stuck. So we didn't know where we were going to be living. You know, we didn't know what to expect. We never been in a shelter situation. We never been evicted before. So all these new things are happening. We're scared. We're freaking out.
petrified.
But at the same time, we're like, no, it's all right. We're gonna be all right. You know, we're gonna be all right. Trying to find that inner strength. For us, not knowing what to do, what to expect, even what we were going into, you know, or even how to get out of that. We had no idea. We get to Bethany, we pull up, and we see all this grass. We see like this plush green grass, this Bethany Hill.
All
I said,
the trees.
It's a literal hill.
Hill, yes.
Bethany Hills, it's a literal hill.
Yes.
And so we're pulling up, and we're like, might be all right.
Yes.
It might
yes.
be okay.
That's how it was. Literally, I felt that in the car driving. I said, this is beautiful. There's so much space for the kids to play.
Right. So yeah, it was definitely like exactly what we needed, like, and more than what we expected.
Exactly what we needed, yes.
Yes.
I almost cannot speak about it. It's like so overwhelming. Every single person, not just the staff, but all the residents, everyone that we met, I felt a little bit timid and shy, but then I said, you know what, I'm gonna like push myself. So every time I seen a person, I'm like, oh, hi, you know, just speaking. And the way they didn't just give like a quick hi. No one just gave like a quick hi and kept going. It was more so, oh, are you new here? You know, is this your family? And do you have any questions? And I was kind of like taken aback because we just came from like this awful experience, and then we're coming here, and it was just welcoming is just not the word.
It was super comforting for us. We're just an active family, so it just felt like home for us in a way. But we didn't expect for like, you know, the culture that's here. It's like, almost like it's something in the water. You know, people talk about the word community a lot, or we're neighbors a lot. You know, we hear those phrases so much that it sounds cliche, But here, it's an active process. It's an important thing here, and that was like exactly what we needed. It's a special place for sure. When we came to Bethany, I had just gotten to Emerson College, and I wanted to get the bachelor's degree, just go forward. Once we got the no-fault eviction, we're moving out here, I didn't know how that was gonna happen. I didn't know how that was gonna happen.
Yeah,
we do the educational planning meeting things. Courtney spoke to us about it, and I was like, yeah, we'll do that. I'm just thinking I want to go down there, meet with this person, and we're gonna talk, we're gonna set goals. My goal is to get my bachelor's degree in about 2.5 years. So I'm gonna go back to Emerson College, and I'm gonna just be taking the train, commuter rail, just going back into Boston. And Courtney's like, yeah, it's cool, we can help with that. Is there any books you need? I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna need books. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need some books, She's like, okay, what books do you need? And so she starts like, we can order those books for you. We can make sure that you have these things. And I was like, and that blew me away. Courtney's like, we can pay for this, we can pay for this. We can see about helping out with this. So all these pieces that were like this huge, these big mountains that like, I didn't know how we were gonna climb. Bethany was able to just like help to take them down. It's like, let's just get rid of that. And it was like, appreciative is not even the word.
I know for me personally, I probably would not be where I am emotionally, mentally. The level of growth that I've experienced here in the past 3 years, like I just could not imagine happening if I was not here. From all of the classes, I forced myself. I'm someone who would have just went and sat in the back of the class and just listened, but I forced myself to interact, and it was so much easier because everyone else was doing it. And it's encouraged, and it's safe, and it feels good. You don't feel like someone's gonna use whatever information you're sharing to hurt you. And I love that. I know that without Bethany Hill, my son would not have had that grounding and that stability. He's learned responsibility, he's learned compassion, he's learned empathy. And I know that we just would not have had that without Bethany. And as for Eden, this is the only home she's ever known, and she loves it. And that is the one thing that really like tugs at my heartstrings about when we move on, when it's our time to move on, because this is her home. I don't want to rip her away from this great place, but I know that I look at it as like we're just growing. So it's just a part of our story, and we don't have to let it go. We can hold it close. I will make sure that my kids remember it. I will make sure that we remember it, because it ignites something inside of me that like I want to do the same thing for someone else.
I'll say definitely support Bethany Hill, because your gift is gonna show somebody humanity and restore people's faith in humanity. All those cliche, all those phrases that you hear about love and community and being a neighbor, this is where it comes to life.
Definitely support Bethany, because they do what they say they're doing. If you contact any one of the staff people and tell them that you're in need or you're having a problem, or immediately they're trying to solve that issue. They're trying to solve the problem. And so absolutely, why wouldn't you want to support a place like that? They are doing exactly what they say they're doing.
Wow, what a wonderful family. I mean,
They are amazing. They are, and
I know that feeling, and I think anyone who's been here knows that feeling. You drive up here and you think, this is a beautiful place.
the first time you drive up, you're like, what is this? Just outside of downtown Framingham. And I think they were like, open space,
Right.
And that is a reaction that we get a lot. It's the safety, but also this idea of kind of space and beauty. I think it's really important to folks.
Yeah, just around nature too, and it means so much to everyone. And we keep saying this past year, but to get outside and to connect with nature has been very powerful. And I think Bethany Hill Place allows families to do that, allows individuals to come here and kind of exhale a little bit and regroup. And it's really important.
Monique did that so beautifully. I loved her doing that. But imagine the stress that Jennifer was talking about. I think, and having a new little life that you have to protect, and going through kind of a homeless system, it is a lot. It's a lot.
Well,
it's amazing.
Thank you for the hope you give. And we want to let you all know that all of this comes at a cost. We have a lot of money to raise tonight to make sure that Bethany Hill Place's educational and community work can continue. It is funded solely through small grants and donations from individuals, from businesses who make a difference. And a lot of it comes tonight at our spring gala. And
it's over half of our program budget every year is generated from our spring gala, or has been in the past. And so we are hoping that it will tonight.
Exactly. So that's why we're here. We are, if you're tuning in late, we are live from Framingham. We are socially distanced, the two of us keeping our space, vaccinated as well. But we would do anything to make sure that the funding gap that exists after a difficult year is closed. So we're asking for your critical help to help the adults, the children, the individuals, people like Jennifer, Monique, Stephen, and their kids. We don't have any paddles to raise, but you can raise anything you want at your house. Mostly just raise your hand and type in the number. We have made it easy for you to give. On your screen right now, you can see if you go to givebutter.com/Bethany Hill Place, you can make a donation there. You can also call us, right? Operators are standing by.
A human who would love to hear from you. 508-270-8002.
So we'd like to give you a sense of where the money goes. You want to know that your money is well spent. I can assure you it is, and I can also assure you that the need is great. So we're going to start with, let's say that you have $5,000 that you would like to donate. You can help us bridge the digital divide. Why do we have a digital divide, Trish?
I think this is related to the pandemic, but the digital divide at Bethany Hill really came about last spring when we had to close down all of our common area spaces. And we always have had Wi-Fi down here in our computer lab and in our program rooms for people to use. But those rooms were locked, and a lot of people had nothing upstairs and no access to it. And as the pandemic wore on and we didn't just open up in 2 weeks, we realized that this issue, that it would be nice to have it throughout the building, was now becoming like this justice imperative. And particularly since we knew that the schools were not going to reopen in September, the staff and our board got together and decided that we just needed to do this. And so we took $55,000 from our reserves to do that. But it was amazing, and it has been an incredible game changer. If you think about how you have used the internet in the past year, and from work, school, groceries, telehealth, all of those things, and not to mention communication. If you've been communicating with loved ones who are maybe far away or not far away, but you can't see them in real time, it's just been an incredible game changer for our families.
But it came at a cost. So what we're asking is that you help us bridge this digital divide. If we could get 4 gifts of $5,000, we could do this right now. So I ask you humbly and gratefully to call 508-270-8002 or give at givebutter.com/Bethany Hill Place. We truly appreciate it. So please make those $5,000 gifts.
Thank you.
You also wanted to talk about the educational work?
Yes, $5,000 also supports our core programs like parenting, kind of budget and finance, credit workshops, even meditation and self-care, which have been really real lifesavers this year. Our model means that we build our curriculum every year for whoever is in the building. It is our residents, their dreams and aspirations, that we have to figure out what are the things that we're going to help them get there with. So that's driving our, the things that we offer, our learning opportunities every year. Courtney and Eileen doing that. So please, $5,000 is a big ask, but it is our core programming.
Thank you. Thank you so much. $2,500 may be more at your speed, and we understand that. It supports individualized work with residents. Trish, what are we talking about here?
So again, we're going back to relationship being at the core of the work that we do, and certainly that's a core value of the Sisters of St. Joseph. But, Dr. O'Connell spoke about it. It is that kind of being in a relationship, neighbor to neighbor. It's critical listening, and it's the practical support that helps our residents kind of discover what their dreams are, and then we carefully tease out the short-term and the long-term goals of how to get there. And you need really amazing, incredible, talented people who have that kind of flexibility and openness to work with those people. And we have that in Courtney McSparron and Eileen Jimenez. And they've really earned the trust of our residents. And that is really what is the starting point for bringing about kind of change and growth.
So please consider a donation right now of $2,500. We would truly appreciate it.
There's one other thing that $2,500
Sure.
pays for.
Yes.
And aside from the $55,000 hard costs for all of the internet throughout the building, is that $2,500 pays for a year of wireless internet service for the entire building. So that's over 100 people and staff and volunteers. It's a big building.
Right, and everybody knows the demand was up this year, so the costs keep going up.
That's
Anybody
right.
knows with all
That's
that
right.
streaming. So thank you. We're going to move on now to the $1,000 level. Your gift of $1,000 will help bring back in-person summer club this year. Right? So
We are all
this
excited
almost
about
needs
summer
no
club.
introduction. Our kids are starved for fun, for outside activity, for taking those masks off when it's safe. So what do you have planned?
Right. We have amazing things planned. And as you have seen from some of the drone footage, we have a beautiful campus to work with. So we are going to have a lot of out time play with the kids, but we also bring all of our community partners from Framingham and Metro West in. We have the Discovery Museums come in. We have the Nature Connection come in. We've had the Community Kiln come in before. We do science experiments, arts and crafts, playwriting and acting, all kinds of fun things, as well as kind of literacy and self-esteem programming, and just a lot of time outside. Yeah. And I didn't mention the arts and crafts, of course, the arts and crafts.
Popsicles and all the fun stuff.
The popsicles, definitely the, you know, you've seen a couple images of that parachute, and there it is, right there.
Yeah.
And every year the kids get a t-shirt, and it's a theme that they typically weigh in on. What is it going to be this year? I'm not sure. One year it was, we got this.
Okay.
So it'll probably be, again, something about resiliency in the pandemic, but it's not my choice. It's not my call, so we'll see.
All right. But make the call right now and help these kids have a great summer. 508-270-8002 or givebutter.com/Bethany Hill Place. We thank you so much. $1,000 also can get healthy snacks for after-school reading club and homework club all year long. How about other computer supplies? Expensive, right?
Yes, yes. When our computer lab is open, it is the hub. It is the downstairs point where everyone kind of gathers. Adults are typically kind of getting benefits, looking for housing, looking for work, printing out important documents. The kids, by 2:30, have kind of filtered in there. They're doing homework. But also, it's a place where people can print out important documents or coloring pages. And the cost of that paper and the ink for our printer is actually significant.
I can imagine it is. Yes. So please,
it's a worthy cause.
For $1,000, you can help support that. Moving on to $500 level. $500 lets us buy and prepare food for community dinner nights.
Yeah,
I assume
one of my favorite things.
We need those to come back,
I can't wait for the community dinners to come back. And community dinners are typically held right here. I think maybe this spring it may be outside, but it's when staff prepare and serve a meal for all the residents in here. And there's not a big agenda, although we usually do some updates and some success. Mostly it's about being around small tables and being together, I think, which we've all missed. But yeah, $500 allows us to shop and cook and provide a meal.
Right.
A couple times a year.
Can also provide a semester's worth of college level books. We heard from Stephen. He's in school working hard.
He graduated.
Oh, he's done.
He's graduated.
That's awesome.
He has graduated. He was talking about at the time he got here, and he was like, I don't know how this is going to happen. It happened.
And we've got students at my alma mater, Regis College.
Regis College, Framingham State, Mass Bay Community College. And we also have people who take kind of courses at Keefe Tech. I'm thinking
Yep.
of like more trade courses.
Sure.
But right now we have someone at Mass Bay who's taking who just took the Accuplacer and is getting into the surgical tech program.
That's a good thing.
So we're
but
really
this is
excited
the key
about
to
that.
getting upward mobility, to getting a job that pays a decent wage, to moving your life forward is
Yeah.
education. We
It's
know that.
education, and people don't realize, tuition is one thing, but we've had residents who have, they've told us that they don't have the money for books, and we find out that they've been reading their books. They've been reading on their phones. They've taken pictures in the library, and then when they have to leave, they come home and they're trying to read.
Right.
They've taken all those photographs. So this is one of those things that just, as Stephen said, it just kind of moved that mountain away.
College is hard enough. Let's make it a little easier for our residents. Please donate $500 now. You can call us at 508-270-8002 or givebutter.com/Bethany Hill Place and help make college just a little bit easier. It's hard enough.
Just
Let's
a
get the
little bit
books.
more within reach, absolutely.
All right. For $250, you can help keep this place growing by stocking the gardens. The gardens are one of the best parts of this
I have
whole
been waiting to
beautiful
talk about the
property.
garden, and I think
Okay.
the drone shot really showed it what it looks like in early spring. It's not up yet.
Yep.
But the garden delivers on like 4 different levels. It is, it's physical, it's emotional, it's financial and nutritional for folks, and it offers people the opportunity to kind of meet and share vegetables. When the zucchini comes in, it comes in. There's a lot of zucchini. But it is such a powerful, not just metaphor, but it just does so many things for all of us.
Healthy, nutritious food.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's terrific.
From right here. None of this processed stuff. We need to fill these bodies with healthy
yeah,
food.
and most people can afford what's on the inside of the supermarket, and all of the fresh fruit on the outside of the grocery stores is often beyond reach. And so it's a
We
big
grow
deal.
our own.
We grow our own.
But you can help us. $250 helps to get the supplies needed to get things growing.
It does. It also helps us when we have programs in the evening for adults in this room. We also have babysitting in the next room, and we usually provide a dinner and,
Babysitters need to get paid.
great babysitters there.
They don't get $250 at a slot, but we do need to pay them. So please help to diffuse that cost by calling 508-270-8002 or givebutter.com/Bethany Hill Place. And those are our levels. But guess what? People can give at any level. We don't
Yes, you
mind.
can.
If $5 is what you have, we know it's a lot to
We
part with
appreciate
that.
it.
So if you're willing to, that is appreciated. Every bit. Seeds could cost $5. So
That's
that's
right.
seeds for a garden. So there's zero pressure. You give what you can give. If you can't give, just the fact that you joined us and cared enough to learn more about Bethany Hill Place says a lot, and we appreciate it.
That's amazing. Do we have a quick tally?
This just in, some breaking news coming in to the Framingham News Center.
We're still only at $128,000. If we can get a few people to help us fill the gap, we're just trying to get to $130,000. So just a couple more packets of
Okay.
seeds, if that's possible.
Exactly. I think we can get there.
I think we can
So
get
There's
there.
not that far to go, right?
No, it's $2,000.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we should be able to
$2,000.
get there.
Yeah, it's a lot, but if we have, a few different people, that would be fast.
And it's just fine if we go over that too,
We were
of course. You
fine.
can see, she's like, well, I don't want to just meet the goal, I'd like to exceed the goal, but we are thrilled because you are making this happen, and it has been a difficult year, but the hope is the love that we feel by the support of our community, from everyone, from our corporate sponsors to individuals, the Sisters of St. Joseph, to all our volunteers and staff. That's what feels so great inside. You never left our side. You're here with us tonight, and
all
we are
year
grateful.
long we have felt that people have been walking with us and really concerned about our residents, bringing us PPE, food cards. We've been really very kind of blanketed by your support, and really I'm so grateful.
Yep.
Incredibly generous. So I want to thank everyone out there watching tonight. It's not a Zoom, so we can't see you in your pajamas. It's true. I've had many questions about that, but
Keep an eye on how many glasses of wine you had. We're out here working,
we're working hard. But I just want to thank you, our sponsors, our guests, everyone who's made this night possible. Just on behalf of Bethany Hill Place, our residents, our staff, our board members who've worked so hard, thank you for sustaining this wonderful model of educational housing. And before we say goodnight, I really want to thank the incredible partners we have in Media Boss, who gave us those gorgeous images and did all kinds of great work on video. Ian Barrett, Aaron Hayes, and Paul Boulay, their expertise and creativity and wisdom kept me calm and just delivered a beautiful program. So thank you so much.
Got us live. We like that.
Live from the program room.
You know, recorded. We're happy to be live again.
I know.
Allowed us to be together, which we're grateful for.
Thank you.
Wish we were with all of you, and we can't wait to be with you again in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Nice
Great to see
all of you.
Nice to see you all.
Be well, and thank you for your generous support.